A Scottish Government agency has given £84,000 to an artist to produce perverted pornography. Here we are, I don't know how you pronounce it anyway. Leonie Ray Gasson is the director. So this is the description of this project. They're going to make a film. On traditional film sets, sex is usually simulated. Performers wear modesty garments. There are barriers between them. Genuine arousal is discouraged, prevented, and there would not be any genital contact. This project is a sex-positive exploration of dyke sexuality in which we're drawing a long tradition of pornographic, erotic and radical queer performance work where the sex and all its messiness and complexity is allowed to be part of the process like other acts and feelings. So for this work, any sex that features will not be simulated but performed by cast members with the support of the intimacy coordinators and access and care team. Notice they've got a care team, so obviously this is very moral and ethical pornography. So explicit non-simulated sex scene will devise the content together with the performers and intimacy coordination team, but on the pre-audition phone call we'll give you a sense of what you'd be interested in trying, porn or cam performance experience required. So they want people who've been involved in pornography. Cam performance, that's like performing sex acts in front of a camera for people. Right, the next stage of the process in producing this film. Some roles will involve just snogging, others will involve vanilla sex and others more hardcore acts. As part of the application, we ask for a general sense of what you'd be happy to do and what is a no for you. If you're selected to be in the cast, our intimacy coordinators will support you to more clearly identify your detailed needs and boundaries with the sexual aspects of the work. We are working with intimacy coordinators with experiences across film and sex work and a head of access and care who look after everybody's access needs. Sessions with a somatic body worker or psychotherapist are also available for any member of the cast as part of the process. Right, why do you need a psychotherapist for your cast? Is that not an indication this is something extremely damaging and traumatic for people? You recognise that by having a psychotherapist on hand, but still you go ahead and the Scottish Government funds you. Well, the Scottish Government agency is giving you this funding. Every member of the team will do paid training with boundaries and consent educator, or consent. Again, that must mean it's very ethical and correct. Coach, pro-dom, kink, BDSM educator, etc. Right, deaf, disabled, chronically ill and neurodivergent performers are very welcome. Again, so this is very ethical, green, environmentally friendly, social justice pornography, apparently. Right, we're looking for dyke identifying performers. I won't read all of that. I mean, who knows what half of those mean, but not exactly a wholesome, family-friendly material. The work will be a 45-minute multi-screen immersive moving image installation created by a company of dykes and all the queer creative team, performed by a mix of dancers, sex workers, prostitutes, performers. The work will play with dyke archetypes and a magical erotic journey through a distinctly Scottish landscape. Now, how about this bit? Come and see Daddy's Lurking in the Woods. A muddy wrestling you can read it for yourself. Princesses playfully trying to drown each other on a loch. Hang on, that sounds quite a sinister thing to be involved in pornography, does it not? The next bit, again, I won't read it. Then the climax, a secret cave sex party featuring a feast of fisting, squirting, wet work and mess. Right. I mean, you can't get any more perverted and disgusting than that. Right, and then you can see the Creative Scotland, the government agency, has given this grant of almost £85,000 to this performance. Looking at the director's website, other projects she's been involved in recently, which I would guess were also government funded. I mean, here's one, Love and Machinery, a party on a stage under the guidance of some 20-somethings, some teenagers and a child explore what they think about relationships, sex, and what it means to have a good time. Right, I've got some problems with that. You don't have something like 20-somethings working with teenagers. There's a gap there, exploring sex and what it means to have a good time. But then worse still, a child. So under the guidance of 20-somethings, a child on stage exploring what they think about relationships, sex, and what it means to have a good time. That sounds, well, paedophilic. That sounds appalling. And they've obviously got the message. They're obviously scared because there's been a bit of attention on this and they're worried what people would say. So that section of the website has been edited. I took that screenshot maybe an hour and a half ago. Then I checked it again maybe 10 minutes ago, and the text has changed. And now it just says, a party on stage, teenagers explore what they think about relationships, sex, and what it means to have a good time. So they've edited out the child from it, probably trying to save their skin and trying to save their £85,000. You've heard me talking so many times about the wide seam of absolute sexual perversion that runs through the SNP and the Green Party, often, I have to say, related to LGBT themes. I mean, when it comes to heterosexual marriages as well, the SNP's level of marital unfaithfulness is quite remarkable. But going back to the perversion through the governing parties of the country, I mean, there's too many to recap. I could write a book about it. I mean, in fact, I have written a book about it. I mean, quite a bit in this book covers some of these areas. I mean, I could add this as another page in that book. Now, you've got to remember, when we make our criticisms of the Scottish Government's sex education resources, I mean, what do you expect from a government that's, is involved in this sort of thing? We get called bigoted and outdated and repressive and sex negative and whatever. But just remember, the people who are making those criticisms, often they're in the world that says, yeah, this is a good project to fund. This is cutting edge art. Now, again, if you're a person who suffers from the conservative delusion, in other words, you think, oh no, I vote conservative, I wouldn't go along with any of that stuff. Have you seen the clips from some latest episodes of Hollyoaks? I would have included them, but Channel 4 normally slams me with a copyright claim or strike or something whenever I do that. So I'm not going to include the clips. But basically pure transgender propaganda, which will wreck the lives of children and tear families apart. That's produced by Channel 4. Channel 4 is an agency of the UK government. Channel 4 is an agency of the UK Conservative government, and it's just pumping out transgender propaganda of the most dangerous and damaging kind. Now, going back to the SNP, maybe some people say, oh, well, okay, yeah, there's quite a lot of like sexual perversion around in the SNP, but we want independence, don't we? Well, I would suggest you reorder your priorities there. But to be honest, I don't think a nation can flourish while these are the values among the ruling class. Now, talking about the ruling class, do get your tickets for my public lecture on Humza, the man, the myth, the Muslim. There's a link below. Thanks for watching.